Hey guys, welcome to episode 29. I'm so excited because I have an amazing woman in the house today. Mandi, what's going on, girl?
Whoop, whoop. Amazing woman over here.
I'm so excited to have you on here, Mandi. It's just going to be a fun discussion for sure. So, guys, hang tight. Okay, we're going to have a good time. So, before we get into the actual meat of the conversation, or, for my vegans and vegetarians, before we get into the veggies of the conversation. I thought that I would just do like a rundown of the boundaries that we spoke about in the past few episodes. So, like the shorter episodes, it was a whole series, and I spoke about 6 boundaries. So, I'm going to go through quickly what the definitions for each of those were. And then Mandi and I are going to have a discussion talking from experience and then just sharing like our thoughts on the boundaries themselves. So, it's kind of like us adding some color to the shorter episodes that have happened. Okay. So, rundown. Number 1, physical boundaries. These are boundaries regarding your space, body, touch, what you eat, drink, and activity. And then sexual boundaries. Number 2, boundaries around sexual activity, and that includes your needs and also your safety. Number 3, emotional boundaries. These are boundaries around your feelings. There's an outward part of it, and then there's an inward, where outward talks about what you feel comfortable sharing, and then inward, what you feel comfortable taking in from somebody else. And then the 4th one is intellectual boundaries, and these are boundaries around your thoughts, your ideas, beliefs, and anything you're curious about. And then the 5th one is time boundaries, and these are boundaries around your time, how you spend your time, who you'll spend your time with, what you want to prioritize, and what is worth your time. And then the last one is material boundaries. And these are boundaries around your assets. And that could be money, like a home, car, anything that you own. Okay. So having said that, sis, give it to them. Okay. Let's start with physical boundaries, girl. Let's talk about it. What you have to tell us about this one?
I feel like physical boundaries are very important. And I think people underestimate just like I think the power of them. For example, like I don't like being touched. I don't like hugs. So like I think with my close friends and my family and people who know me well, I expect that if you introduce me to your friend, if I, pull out my hand to shake them, you're not offended. Like you explain to them, or you know well enough not to just come in my space, because I'm very conscious about that. Like I don't like being touched. And I think that comes from like, even when I was a child, like I don't like to be touched. I'm not someone who's like constantly like touching people or hugging strangers. Like that makes me really uncomfortable.
Gotcha. Oh, you came in hot. And you know what I love about this is, you have a very clear thing of like, hey, even across the board with friends and family, like people know that this touch thing is a big one for me, right? So for me, it's so interesting because okay, I hug. Like it's not like I'm a hugger. Like, oh my gosh, everyone I see, I need to hug
Girl,
them.
it's okay if you are.
No. So I hug, right? Like even if let's say if I see a friend, I'll like hug them. But it's so interesting because with friends and family, I'll hug them like just one hug is cool, right? But when I'm in a relationship, oh my gosh, I want to hug you. I want to cuddle. I just, I'm like, not on you like white on rice, but like low key on you like white on
Girl,
rice.
do your thing, even if you are.
I mean, and it's so interesting because when we're talking about boundaries, right? We're talking about like, hey, these are boundaries you set for yourself. But then there's also the other part of it where people have boundaries. And I like this, Mandi, because you are on the other side, right? We're like, okay, I have been in a relationship in the past with someone who liked their personal space, right? But then the thing is that this had not been communicated. And so, I'm trying to like each time I see this man, I'm just like hugging him from the front, from the back, I like hugging in a relationship, And so we did get to a point where like the person was like, bro. He's like, bro. He's like, the hugging, it's a lot, And I will be so honest here, and I'll say that I actually was really hurt by it, right? Because, well, I guess this whole time, like the hugging had been happening, And I didn't know that this was actually just how this person is, that they don't like to like hug all the time. Like even in general, like in their own life. It's not like when they're in a relationship, they don't like to hug. In
Yeah.
general, they're just not a huggy person, right? So we did have to have a conversation about that, where this person was like, hey, you know, like I don't like to, like we can hug, I'm cool with that, but like we can't hug 50 times a day, right?
Day.
Like listen, like
We have to ration
hey,
it.
yeah, like let's cut it down a little bit, you know. And so it was like a compromise situation. It was like, okay, obviously he understands that in a relationship you can't completely cut off hugging somebody, but at the
Hmm.
same time, for me, I can't be hugging him all the time. So yeah, so it was a situation that I learned from. And I think it's interesting too, because you know, like Mandy, to your point, that's just how you are in life. And I even have another friend as well who she doesn't like hugging and that kind of stuff. Like she doesn't like people being in her space and all of that stuff. But for some reason, I will say when it happened in a relationship context, I was hurt because I took it personally. But hey, but that's the thing, right? It's like when people have boundaries, it's nothing against
You.
you. It's really about the person protecting themselves.
My question is, when is it appropriate to just communicate that? Because I feel like if we just like, we're now in a relationship, I'm not going to be like on day one, these are the rules. And then I bring out like a scroll with like no hugging past da 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 da, like no hugging for 10 minutes plus. Like, when is it the right time? Because like sometimes I just will like brush off someone, not because I don't like you. Like even my friends, they always joke
Mm.
to me that I give them like church hugs, because like I just I just give them a church side hug, because for me that's what's comfortable. Or if someone is like crying, like I'll like pat their back, like just like like a subtle pat on the back. I'm like, baby, you'll be okay. Because like I just so like I don't know when is the right time to communicate these physical boundaries. That's my thing. Like for
Girl,
me, the problem is it's always when someone is upset. That's when these physical boundaries are discussed.
in my relationship, like the one that I was telling you about, I feel like that was kind of like the issue, in the sense that when the relationship had started, like nobody had said anything about like if they're a hugger or not a hugger, right? And we
Hmm.
had been hugging, we had been doing all this stuff, right? Like prior to I guess even making it official. So then the reason why I then took offense was that it came out like later. But at this point, like my partner is like overwhelmed by the love. They're like, this is too much, right? So I think sometimes I think sometimes it's okay for things not to come up right in the beginning. And I think also, even as we talk about other boundaries that we'll go into later, I think sometimes also it's not a boundary that you already have that you're well aware of. Sometimes it's like, oh, when someone then triggers something, or when
Hmm.
someone does something and you're like, oh, this is making me feel some type of way. And then you communicate it, which I don't think that there's a problem if boundaries come up. At least personally, I don't think there's a problem if boundaries come up as you go. I think the issue then becomes if those boundaries keep getting violated, right? Like, for example, Mandy, if you've told somebody that you don't like hugging and they keep hugging you all the time, that's a problem, right? So then it's like after you've had the discussion, there needs to be like some change.
Yeah,
So
there
that,
needs to be a change. Yeah.
yeah, so
Hmm.
your boundaries are not violated on that.
No, I agree. I agree. But even like with physical boundaries, I think I'm not someone who likes to spend all my like I get drained pretty easily. Like I feed off of people's energy, but people's energy also drains me. So like after like a good day of hanging out, I really need to like just be by myself. So it's so funny, like especially
Mm.
when you're dating someone. Like I'm the type of person who says like, "Hey babe, like I love you, but I'm going to go into that room and watch a TV show by myself.
Mm.
Please don't come and watch with me. I want to watch it alone and sit here alone. You find something else to do." And I think like that offends a lot of people, because it like, it looks like you're not trying to spend quality time with them. But for me, like that, those are my physical boundaries. Sometimes I just need to be alone, like by myself.
Ooh. Oh, Mandy, this is a good one. How has that been for you, like in a relationship context, when you've brought that up? Like, are your partners just receptive right away, or does it make them feel some type of way?
Hell no. Men are such babies. Like, I'm just gonna make a general statement. Men are such babies. Like, they get offended so easily. So, of course, when I brought this up, it's been met with retaliation and puppy dog eyes. And can I come with you? You want to watch the show by yourself? Don't you want to watch together? And I'm like, no, I don't want to watch together. Like, you're cool and all, but I really just want to watch Love Island by myself. Okay.
Okay. But then I guess over time, do they end up being okay with it? Like,
Yeah,
do they
over
now
time they
understand?
get it.
Okay.
Like I think, like you said, for you, like in the beginning you think it's you, and then once you get to know the person well, and you guys talk it through, you realize that it's not you. It's just how they are, and they need that to like thrive and flourish. And for me, I need to recharge so that I can give you back that energy. But if like you continue to like just kind of stick by me and you don't give me that space, I end up getting very irritable, and then it's not good for the both of us because then I get snappy and then fights happen and everything. So it's just in your best interest, like when that time comes, you just need to leave me alone.
I love that. I love that. And actually, one of the things that I brought up in the intro episode that I did on boundaries was the importance of being able to communicate boundaries to people and also being able to like say what the consequences are if those boundaries are violated. So, Mandy, if you're being objective, right? Like looking at
Mhm.
yourself, do you think you're pretty good at communicating all types of boundaries? Or are there some where you're like, okay, I'm really good at communicating these, but then I'm not so good at communicating these?
I think I'm too good at communicating boundaries. Like, I will be honest with you. I grew up with a blunt African mother. So my mom is the type of person who says like, listen, like you need to leave now. Like I need to watch my TV show. Like, and I've never been offended because that's just what I grew up to. So I knew that my mom loved me. She just wanted me to leave the room so that she could do what she needs to do. So I tend to like forget that other people did not grow up like that. So I'm very good at like, articulating bluntly what I need, and that is the problem.
Girl, I love it. I love it. And I just, you know what I love too? The self awareness, right? And I think it's really good to be able to communicate your boundaries because once you've said it, it's like now the people know. It's up to them, like how they're gonna relate to you. But like at least
Relate
you've put it out
exactly.
there, right? How about consequences? Like when you communicate your boundaries, do you have consequences that go with them? Or are you just more of like a, hey, I don't like this, and then that's it? And then also if you are like that, what happens if somebody violates your boundaries?
I think like thankfully and just like truly, I think at this age and generally like I don't know, the type of friends I have, the type of people I date, like I think we're generally mature enough that I don't have to like like tell you the consequences. Like I think people have been very respectful. Like I've met and been around people who are very respectful and have understood
Mm.
that these are the boundaries. I don't need to be like, and these are the consequences if you break them. However, when when someone has decided to violate those boundaries, they've realized what the consequences are. Like I I'm very good. Like I hate grudges. I'm not someone who keeps grudges. I hate fighting. I hate just like that silent treatment. So if you've
Okay.
really annoyed me or if I'm upset with you, you will know at the day, at the time, at the hour, at the minute, at the second, at the millisecond. You will know that I'm mad, and you'll know that I'm mad because of A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Like I'm very good at like telling you then and there. So I think like when boundaries have been violated, I have been like, hey, listen, I really can't talk to you, or I'm like not gonna like I can't be your friend for now because you've really done this, and I can't be in a friendship or relationship when someone does this. Therefore, either we're gonna talk through it, and maybe if you disagree and you think that this is okay, that means we shouldn't be in a relationship or we shouldn't be friends at all. Or if you understand what you've done and whatever, let's have a conversation and see how we can move forward.
Oh, dang, girl, you came in hot. I mean, I have so much respect for you because now at this point, I'm like, listen, I thought I was good at communicating until I was communicating to you about my
Girl, I said I'm
communication.
not. I never
And
said I'm good. I said I'm too good.
you're so good. No, I love that. But then, Mandy, right? Like, what happens if the boundaries have been violated, but the person was not aware that it was a boundary? And let's say, like, it was something okay, let's say for example, let's take even the hugging, right? So the person like hugs you and you don't want to be hugged, right? Like would the consequence be different? Like would you like cut off somebody for the smaller things, or like is it depends on how big the thing is that somebody has done?
Depends on like the body language. Like obviously, like you can tell. Like if let's just say you meet me for the first time and I don't feel comfortable and hug, like I don't want to hug you. Obviously, I'll like shrug. I'll like squirm. There's certain ways that you can tell that I'm reacting. And if you then take it upon yourself to then just go and force by fire, you want the hug, then I mean, you knew, sir or ma'am. Like you can
Got you.
tell people. I think I give clear signs when I don't want someone. However, if I'm that day, if I'm just like scared to speak up for myself, and I'm just like, you know, if I act like it's okay and you hug me, I can't now be like, oh, you hugged me against my will. Like if I didn't say anything and I didn't react, then you didn't know. Like if you
Right,
know.
right, right. Okay,
So
okay.
the onus is
That's
on
fair.
me at that point.
Oh, solid. I love it, girl. And I mean, I guess I will flip the question back to myself. I think um in general, I mean, I guess other people would have to vouch for me, but I think that I'm pretty good at communicating like boundaries. And I
Mm-hmm.
think most of the time, right, kind of like what I was saying was like, okay, in the context of a relationship, sometimes it's not like boundaries are said right at the beginning. There's some that will be said right at the beginning for sure, but there's
Yeah.
some that are gonna be like triggered by certain situations, and then I'll communicate them. And then in terms of consequences, and I think I mentioned this actually in one of the shorter episodes. There was this person, right, who like would be talking on the phone, and like while we're having the conversation, this guy would just hang up the phone, like
Oh
mid,
my lord.
like I'm in the middle of a sentence, he just like hangs up the
PTSD.
phone. And so it happened, right? So the first time it happened, I was like, okay, I'm gonna let it slide. And
Mm-hmm.
then the second time it happened, I was like, nah. At this point, you're like starting to, this is like some habit. So I clearly texted. I was like, look, this behavior of hanging up the phone when you
Mm-hmm.
feel like the conversation is done, it doesn't work for me. And if you continue doing, I was like, if you do this again, best believe I am not going to talk to you on the phone again. Lo
Mm-hmm.
and behold, and of course, some people, it's like you tell them and they're able to, like, maybe be on good behavior for like a week, be on good
Anti-good
behavior for like
behavior.
a week, right? And then lo and behold, it happened again, right?
Mhm.
And the moment he hung up, I sent in capital letters, "Did you just hang up on me?" Question mark, exclamation mark. And then this guy calls back right away, right? And I didn't
Uh.
pick up. So in that moment, I had to be like, okay, I already told this person that there would be consequences. Like if you keep doing this, keep repeating this, they're gonna be consequences. And this person still did it. And now he thinks just because he's calling me 10 milliseconds after I've sent him this, did you just hang up on me? Thing like I'm gonna pick up. So like that was one situation where it was communicated. Now there was another situation with a different person. He was trying to have some sort of relationship with me that I was not wanting to have with him. Like I was like, you know what? Friendship
Mhm.
is where it's at, right? And
Yeah, it
this
wasn't
person is trying to,
reciprocal.
yeah, and this person is, and actually to make it even worse, this person didn't want like a relationship because he was like, oh, I don't really think like I wanted like a relationship. I think he wanted like more of like a thing with benefits or something like that, right?
Ah,
And I had communicated to this person that,
yeah.
look, like I like friendship is where it's at. I had said to this person, right, like,
Mhm.
look, because I was very overwhelmed now by the pressure that was being applied on me. And I didn't want this, right? So I'm like, look, I don't want this. And I think you should give me space. Like, and then he's like, oh, like, oh, we should still be friends. I was like, just give me time. I just need time without you for some time. And then when I'm ready, we can
It's
continue
not
said
me, it's
friendship.
you.
Exactly. We can continue this friendship, right?
Yeah.
Oh, then this guy, I think he probably left me for like a week. Then he came back full force. And I don't know what it is with some people. It's like, look, if someone has communicated something to you, they mean what they said. You know what I mean? Also, this guy, starts like messaging, he starts like calling and all of that stuff. And I'm not picking up and all of that stuff, right? Then he messages me after like a month or so. He's like, hey, I just want to apologize for what I did. Like
Oh, so it
I
took
shouldn't
your
have.
extreme actions for him
Girl,
to
that is not the end of it. He's like, I'm so sorry for like what I did. And then he's like, I'm really hoping that you could, he's like, I'm really hoping that you could give me a chance to be your friend, right? I was like, hey, because I was just scarred from everything that had happened. I was like, hey, thank you, for the apology. I'm still not at a point where I feel like I can be comfortable being your friend, right? So like just give me time. Ha. this guy says, oh, I have to send you a voice note. So he said, he says he's going to send a voice note. The voice note didn't come. Okay. The next day he sends me a message. He's like, hey, I couldn't even get myself to report the voice note. We just really need to start talking. You're being really unfair to me. How can you not even give me like a coffee?
Oh, so
like,
he's now the victim.
Yes. And I'm like, okay, first of all, when you came, you were apologizing, but now like there's no remorse whatsoever. It's almost as if he came into it saying, oh, if I say sorry to her, she's gonna be like, okay, let's be friends, yes, let's have coffee. So then this guy's like, oh, you're being unreasonable, we should at least have coffee. So at that point I blocked him, right? And the
Not the
consequence of like
unreasonable.
right, and the thing is that me blocking him, I hadn't communicated to him that, hey, if you keep pushing me, I'm gonna block you. But then I was so overwhelmed by the pushing that the blocking just needed to be done. You know what I mean? So I think sometimes
you don't
like,
need to explain the consequences. Like, I believe that sometimes you just don't need to. You just need to act, because some people don't deserve it.
that is
quite
true.
frankly.
That is true. Something else that I was reading up on when I was reading on boundaries, they were saying, if you're going to communicate consequences to people, for those people who do communicate consequences to people before things happen, like you also need to stick to what you said.
But I found that with friends, like a lot. Like, I think whenever people say that they'll do something and then the other person sees that you don't respect yourself enough to follow through, or you just don't follow through, they tend to take advantage of that.
And I mean, at that point, right, it's like, who's to blame, right? Because I think some people will keep pushing at you, like keep pushing, kind of like moving. If you think of a boundary as a line, they want to see how far you can push that line, right? And so it's up to you. If you're gonna say, hey, I'm gonna walk if you do this, then be true to your words and walk. Because if you don't keep at what you had said, right? Like you don't keep your own word about consequences, like you said, like how can somebody else respect you the next time you put a boundary on the ground? So, man, oh, this was good,
Girl,
Mandi.
the wisdom.
The wisdom. Okay. Well, now the next one is sexual boundaries. I really don't have much to say here because I don't want y'all knowing my life like that. But what I will say is sexual boundaries for me, I mean, all boundaries are very important, right? And sexual boundaries, I think, are also very, very important. And I am somebody who communicates things right in the beginning because I don't want any surprises, especially like in this day and age, the things that people want out there in the world sexually, I cannot give it to them like that. You know what I mean? So I'm telling you, so I just say like, just so you know, coming into the situation, this is stuff that I just won't do. And now it's up to the person. If you're gonna stick around, like now you know what I've said, like I won't do. And I hope you can respect me and also respect yourself enough not to like push me on something that I already said I wouldn't do. You know what I mean?
I agree with you. I think that's like very important. But I think like in this day and age, one thing that's like really scary and really sad about sexual boundaries is that a lot of people tend not to vocalize their boundaries just because they don't want to seem prudent or seem boring. Because like I think the society that we're in right now has normalized a lot of things that we didn't grow up. Well, I will say for me, growing up in Zimbabwe, growing up in an African Christian household, it just seems like the world is not really aligned with that. So, even if you feel a certain way, I think society has kind of society has kind of influenced you into not saying anything just because you don't want to seem prudent. And let's be honest, like I think at the age that we are at, a lot of people aren't willing to have those boundaries. They like a lot of people I've spoken to, and I've been in the same situation where you've been ridiculed for saying certain things. So you'd rather not say anything. However, in your silence, sometimes then you find yourself in situations that you do not need to be in, because if you had vocalized, you would not be in that situation with that person.
I absolutely love that. Yeah.
So I think it's like very difficult, but I think, in terms of like just empowering yourself and having a good group around you and being around the right people, like I think I don't struggle with those boundaries. I definitely know what my boundaries are, and I'm definitely comfortable at this age, at this time, vocalizing it. And I think my partner knows what those boundaries are, and I'm very comfortable in like my decisions in them. also one thing that like us girls, I will say us African Christian girls, sorry to coin all of us, but like I think one thing that people are also guilty of is like not being honest with their boundaries. So like, you know, being in a relationship with someone, knowing full well that you're not intending to do something, um, whatever the act may be, and then saying next time or making up excuses so that you don't do it, but without telling someone. Because I think it's also within a person's right to choose that. Because some people have explicitly told me, my guy friends have told me, people have told me, like, I don't want to be in a relationship where this is lacking. And by you
Exactly. Right.
making excuses and
Mhm.
not being clear about your boundaries, you're not giving that person the opportunity to find what they want. Like, it's within their right, and you're being selfish and unfair, and it's hoodwinking someone.
I absolutely love that, Mandy. And there's also the other side of it too, where it's like, you know, and I mentioned this in the sexual boundaries episode, right? Where it was like, even lying to someone that you're on birth control when you know that you're not on birth control, that is a sexual boundary violation of your partner, right?
Yeah.
So like I think in this case, like both men and women are equally capable of violating boundaries. It's the same thing. Like even if you're a
Yeah.
woman and you're trying to do some sexual activity with a man and he's saying like he doesn't want to do it, like you like pushing, like you're violating somebody's boundaries. You know what I mean?
1,000%. I think this is like the hardest boundary because like people just don't like to discuss it. I think consent is like a newish thing. So people generally just stay away from it. It's like taboo in so many cultures. So people stay away from it. Therefore,
Yeah.
it's usually the boundary that's like the most violated because people just don't like try to sweep it under the rug.
Yeah. And I think also like, I don't know if it's like boundaries or if it's expectations, right? In a relationship, like you said, Mandy, like if something is important to you, like you need to have some sort of specific sexual activity, like be very confident to say what you need. You know what I mean? And then if the other person can't give it to you, then maybe there is incompatibility in that sense, and then you can make the decision to leave. And I've had conversations with like guys where like they will specifically say certain things and they're very confident. The confidence levels are 1000%. Like, hey, in a relationship, this is what I need. And then I get to make the decision, right? Like, okay, based on what this person has said,
Mhm.
can I give this person like what they want? Because at the same time, too, you don't want to be in a relationship with someone where someone really needs something and the other person really won't give them that something because like there's no like meeting in
Then
the
no one's
middle.
happy, exactly, because you're constantly being like for like being persuaded to do something that you don't want. Then it's uncomfortable. But I think in the same
Exactly.
notion, having that conversation also can help you guys go on the same path. Like you know how
Right.
like Eve led Adam to eat the apple. There's also times where sometimes you both realize like you can help someone realize that maybe this isn't something that they should be doing, or maybe this is
Right.
something that they actually don't want, and you
Yeah.
guys move
Yeah.
forward from that. So I think it's just important to be like very clear so that you either work through it together and you move on, or maybe
Hmm.
you guys move on separately.
I love that. And I think the key thing here is like information is key, right? Like if you
Hmm.
need something, say it. If you don't do something, say it. And then
Yeah,
let's give the other person like a chance to make the decision based on the information you've given them, like what they would want to do to move
want to
to
do.
move forward.
Hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, nice. I love that. Okay, let's move on to emotional boundaries. How are we feeling about that one?
I think I struggle a lot.
There was like a pause.
Like I'm not really like, those who know me know that I'm not really an emotional person. Like I have a lot of empathy and I'm able to like feel what people are feeling, but personally like I'm not an emotional person. So like sometimes like the way that I like support people emotionally, or like when people are going through really tough things, like I'm not the type of person, like obviously on the first day of your breakup I will definitely come with ice cream, chocolates, everything. We will trash that man, we'll talk about his hairline, we'll talk about everything, his lack
Not
of
that
hairline,
hairline.
his
Oh
lack
God.
of hairline. However, on the third day, I'm gonna come to you, sweetie, with a bodycon dress and a push-up bra, and I'm gonna say, "Girl, you need to get your act together." I'm gonna come with you to the gym. I'm gonna like, I'm going to expect you to, get your shit together. So I think that's one thing that like I struggle with, because a lot of people need like a lot of mollycoddling, whereas like I'm very much of a tough love type of person.
I see, I see. And so do you communicate that like in the sense of a relationship, right? Like would you tell your partner that like, hey, like this is how, or is it one of those things where they learn as the relationship goes how you are emotionally?
I think they learn very quickly. And I think I'm also
Mandy's like, listen, my partners are quick learners. Okay.
no, they learn very quickly, because I feel like I'm not a words of affirmation person at all as well. That
Okay.
kind of ties into it. I'm like very much like tough love, and like I'll like be supportive, but like I kind of let you know before. Like I remember there's actually a friendship that ended for me because like I was very honest, and I was like, listen, like I get it, like you're struggling and all these things, but I can't just spend my whole day talking to you and like, telling you all these sweet nothings and whatever.
Mm,
Like, I'm not that type of person. A, I have a job that is very demanding. B, like I'm like a fixer. Like I want to help you find a solution. Like, I don't believe that there's any like, obviously there's a time and a place for everything, but I don't
mhm,
think you should make the time just lamenting the whole time or complaining, whatever. So I think
mm,
that's where things are hard for me in terms of emotional boundaries, because like I'm very clear about it. Like I'll be very honest with you, like this is my capacity, this is what I can handle, and like you can choose whether or not you want to, if this is enough for you. If it's not enough for you, I'm not offended, I won't take it personally. But I've seen that a lot of people tend to want more, and I think I just think about things a different in a different
mm.
way.
And I
And those
love
that
that.
get it. The girls that don't.
No, I love that a lot because I think you spoke on both like the inward and the outward, like how much, like you let people know how much you're able to give, right? Like out, and then also how much information you can take. Because, for example, like you can't have your friends, like what you're saying, call you every single day to talk about the same story over and over and expecting you to give them the same reaction, right? Like at some point you're gonna be like, okay, girl, like let's go to the gym,
Yeah,
let's
like what
do
do you
stuff.
do? Like how are we getting past the
Yeah.
situation? Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, I think for me, just speaking from experience on the emotional boundary. So I'll talk kind of like from let me start with the healthy kind of emotional. I don't know if it
Mhm.
would be like an emotional boundary or healthy emotional some. Okay. So basically, I was talking to this guy and we were not exclusively dating, right? So
Okay.
anyway, but we were still like in a spot where we had not made the relationship official. Like it was not like, oh, you're my boyfriend, you're my girlfriend. Like we're still like talking, trying to figure things out. And I
Okay.
remember there was something that had happened and it had to do with like it had to do with like some other girl. And it wasn't like, like this guy had like kissed another girl or done anything physical with another girl, but I just didn't like the fact that this particular girl was still in this guy's life, right? But then the
Mhm.
thing is that, so I'm feeling some type of way about it. But then I remember just being by myself and being like, oh my gosh, I feel like I don't have a right to say
Right.
anything to
Mhm.
him about this because we're not in a relationship, right? Like we're not boyfriend and girlfriend. He doesn't owe me like certain things right now. You know what
Or
I
I
mean?
can't say like, you can't talk to this girl. You need to minimize.
Exactly. Or like I can't even tell him that this is making me feel some type of way. So anyway, I was talking to my little, not little boo thing, but like, you know what I mean? Like my
Mhm.
my guy. Okay. So we're
Your
talking
big
and
boo
stuff.
thing.
And so he picks up that the mood is down. Something is wrong, right? So he's like, what's wrong? Now I'm like, what do I even say? I mean, I know like I'm feeling such a
I
way, but
don't
how
like
do
your
I
little
say it?
friend.
So then, after some like probing, he's like, if you're upset about something, I want you to feel comfortable saying it. And that was like the best thing anyone has ever said to me in in such a setting where it's like, you're talking or like you're dating someone, but you're not like in a relationship yet, right? He's like, I care about like how you feel. And this is like part of getting
Aw.
to know each other. He's such a sweetheart, honestly. He's like, part of getting to know each other is you being comfortable to tell me when something is
Mhm.
upsetting you. So that really
Mhm.
like made me feel good about it because even throughout like the getting to know each other stage, I knew that if I was upset about something, like this person cared about how I
Yeah,
felt,
they
right?
validated it. Yeah.
Exactly. They validated how I feel. Now, on the flip side, let's talk about an unhealthy situation I was in. So I was in a relationship with this guy, and it was intercontinental. We were across the. I'm not talking about time zones for days. Okay, like 7 hours, 8 hour time differences. When the fighting would happen, he would go offline.
Oh, girl.
I don't have the money to go and get a phone card to call you. So now I'm emotionally constipated because I have so much to I have so much going on the inside of me. And like this person has just gone offline, right? Like he would just be like, oh, I don't want to talk about this right now. And then he just leaves.
No,
So that was
the
a
minute
very like
that's a boundary, girl, that you just raised. Silent treatment all the way in the bin. Whether you're a friend, whether you're a lover, it's over. The minute you silent treat me, that's it. That is so manipulative.
I'm telling you, right? So that's another thing where it's like, okay, now let's actually transition to time boundaries. And I'm like, now I don't even have control of my time because this person is like spending all these hours with me on like back and
And
forth fights where we're not
how do you
sorting it out.
sleep? Even if you pick a fight at
Girl,
12, how am I meant to sleep now?
I'm telling you, I have to study for my college classes. I have to study for my exams, and I need to take my life seriously. You know what I mean? Like
Girl,
it's not
heaven
like
forbid I fail because I was fighting with a man. My mother will slap me so hard.
exactly. So yeah, so that was just an unhealthy time boundary situation. But I will say, I think over time with maturity and stuff, and just with adulting, everybody knows that look, you have work going on. And even when you're done with work, sometimes people have studying going on. Sometimes people have just commitments after work that they need to do. So I'm definitely like way, way, way better than I was back in the day in terms of like handling my time and all of that kind of stuff. I will also say though, on that time thing, let me flip it and talk about my time needs. So one of one of my love languages at the top is quality time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, see, it's like one thing to give me time, it's another thing to give me quality time, right?
Time.
So for example, if you know, and I've communicated like this love language thing, I feel like I give potential people, okay, not pretend, that sounds crazy, bro. It's not like when I meet somebody, I just give them a quiz. But like
You're
early
like,
on.
I sent you a link on your WhatsApp. Check real quick.
Exactly. But like they know, you know what I mean? So it's one of those things where if I'm trying to spend time with somebody and they're on their phone, let's say like we go for dinner and like while we're having dinner, you're on the phone, like you're texting your friends or like you're doing certain things or like we're watching a movie, but somehow there's just a lot of stuff that's happening and we're not spending quality time together. That actually affects, that's a violation of my like time. I don't know if it's like time expectations or what, but that's like a violation of like things that I
Yeah,
expect.
that's violation of quality time. No, that's very valid. Like I feel like, as you said, like you said a very important thing. Like quality time and time are very different. Like giving someone time like when you're just like bored is different from when you sacrifice doing something to give yourself, like to give someone else time. Like for example, if you're in a relationship and your man literally wants to spend every waking second playing with
Mm-hmm.
the boys, and
Right.
every weekend, Friday night he's with the boys, Saturday he has to be with the boys, Sundays with the boys, but he can call you real quick on Sunday at like 2 p.m. until 3. Like that's not quality time. Quality time is
Right.
saying to the boys, hey guys, we've hung out a lot, but Sunday I'm unavailable. I'm actually going to watch a movie with my girl. I'm going to do this and that. That's spending quality time. And I think
Exactly.
a lot of people don't understand like kind of the importance of doing that, of the sacrifice. Like what is it that you're sacrificing, or what is it that you're pushing off or you're doing earlier, or even just doing earlier? Like I could go to the gym at 10. But what if I'm like, hey, I'm actually going to go to the gym at 8 because I know that I'm going for brunch with friends at 12. So I want to
Mm.
do an hour of the gym, then I can spend time 2 hours talking to this person. That's a big difference than trying to just like cram and give them the crumbs.
Right. I love that a lot. And I think also something I'll even say too, right, is on the flip side, when it comes to being in a relationship, yes, you need to spend time with your partner and all of that stuff. But it also, an unhealthy situation is also a situation where your partner expects you to spend all the
Well,
time with them,
mm-hmm.
right? Like that's a violation of your time because you should, like, being in a relationship doesn't mean you should never spend time with your friends, or you shouldn't like spend time on your hobbies, or like to your point, Mandy, that you said earlier, still having that alone time to recharge. Like if that's important to you, you should still have that. So like a relationship also shouldn't suffocate you, but it's also important to realize that there's certain expectations in a relationship where if you're spending time with your partner, let it be quality time with them, right? Like nobody wants to feel like I'm a side piece to the boys or I'm a
Mhm.
side piece to the girls, right? So
Yeah.
so yeah. Mandy, question, how are you when it comes to like time management? Like if a partner is late for things, like how does that make you feel?
Personally, I'm like someone like I give grace, like in certain situations. Like I'm not unreasonable about time, but if there's an activity that we've planned ahead of time and it is within your control to get there on time, then I definitely expect you to be there on time. I think it's very disrespectful to disregard people's times. If someone has told you that they have made a brunch reservation for 1 p.m., like I expect you to be there at 1 p.m. I don't expect you to waltz in at 1:30 and give 1,000 excuses. Like I will say, obviously things happen that are beyond your control. Sometimes your Uber says it's 3 minutes away, and then they start saying it's 5 minutes, it's 7 minutes, and before you know it, you're 5 minutes late. I get that, but I don't like. I think a lot of people just disregard people's time. Like, let's just say you're meant to be at the venue at 12, but you leave your house at 12. Like, come on, let's just discuss that. That is completely unacceptable. Like
I love that a
I
lot.
just can't even fathom. Like for me, it just shows how like how much you respect that person. If I know
Mm,
that I need to be somewhere, I'll start getting ready within a good time. I personally try to walk places because I know that when I'm walking, I'm actually in control of my time. I can quicken the
mm,
pace or I can slow in the space. Like it depends. Obviously, if it's far, I'll have to Uber. I'll try call it in advance. If I happen to get stuck in traffic, then I'm really sorry. But I believe that you should be updating someone. Hey, I'm in the Uber currently. The ETA is this. I'm really sorry. It's 5 minutes late. Not that you're at home and you haven't communicated with me or whatever. Like, I think there needs to be a respect because I think time is something that you definitely can't get back. You can.
mm-hmm.
Yes, losing money sucks, but you can go like that at work next week. I'm just gonna make it back again. Like time is something you can't ever get back, and the way that someone allocates their time to you or shows up to things shows what they think of you. Are
Mm,
you okay
mm-hmm.
with someone just waiting there for you for 30 minutes for no reason? And also, you should be adult enough. If you know you can't make it anymore, we understand. Like, we're all adults, things come up. Hey, I really thought I could make this thing. However, where I am currently, it's run over. By the time I try to get to you, it's going to be really late. Let's take a rain check. I'm really sorry. Like, that is
Mm-hmm.
allowed. But don't just make someone wait for a really long time unless you have a really good reason. Maybe your Uber had an accident, had a puncture, something. And also keep the person updated. Not
Yeah,
when you're
yeah.
late, but before. Let's just say it's 20 minutes
Mm-hmm.
before the time and be
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, I know it's 20 minutes before the time, but I'm running late by this much time. Maybe it takes me 15 minutes to walk. That way
Yeah,
I'm not like walking out of my house early thinking we're gonna meet at a time. Maybe I'm like, okay, let me actually just hold back. Or maybe I can call the place and be like, hey, we're running late. Because some
yeah.
places, 15 minutes grace period or you lose your reservation.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And you know what? In the same breath, right? Like, yes, like I 1000% agree with you. It's like, okay, when you can't make an event, just say it, like take a rain check. However, you can only do so many rain checks because there was also a situation I was in where this person was forever rain checking. Like, and it's not
Girl,
good. It's not good because like now as the person who's, let's say we've made plans, let's do
yeah.
lunch or let's do brunch, right? Every time I'm nervous because I'm like, this person might just
Girl, I'm
decide that they don't want
sorry.
to
If you
come.
flake twice, it's a wrap. I'm sorry. I those are
Exactly.
the consequences. For me, if you flake twice, it's a wrap. Because like if I say I'm gonna come, I'll show you up. Like I will always show up. If I'm not showing up, I'll let you know. But if I reach a point where it's been 2 times and you've cancelled, I'm sorry, but I'm not
Yeah,
coming into
yeah,
anything that I'm not initiating. Unless you initiate and you are there, I'm not going to take
you
that
have to
chance.
you have to send us photos that you've arrived so that we can know.
That
Okay,
you're
let's now leave.
leaving. You need to tell me an hour before that, hey, I'm actually getting ready. I can't wait to see you. Like, I'm getting ready. I can't wait to eat that type of food that we're gonna eat. Whatever. I need some sort of collateral to
I'm
know that
telling
you're
you.
coming.
I'm telling you exactly. All right, cool. Let's go into intellectual boundaries real quick. Any
Yeah.
thoughts there?
I think people are allowed to like what they like, and
Mm-hmm.
people like what they like, and it's very important for you to know what you like. I don't know how true this is, but tabloids say that Michael B. Jordan was saying that Lori Harvey was not smart enough for him. You can have intelligent conversations with her, whatever
Oh,
the jazz is. But they'd been dating for like over a year, and he was ready to take things to the next level and all these things. So I'm like, you should know what your type is. Like personally, I cannot deal with unintelligent people just because like honestly I like to have like a good conversation with people. Like I like,
mm.
yeah, depth, and I like us to have an intellectual conversation. You don't have to know about science or finance, but like you can tell when a conversation is good. So if I don't
Mhm.
see us having that much of an engaging, stimulating conversation, then like I don't know how we're gonna be A, friends, B, you know, if we're gonna be in a relationship, we're definitely not, because like I will just definitely axe you off from there.
Yeah, and I love that, Mandy, right? Because it's very important to know what you like. Like, if you need somebody who can have stimulating conversations with you, then, like Mandy said, like right off the bat, just X somebody out. The problem comes when you decide to be in the relationship with this
Mm-hmm.
person, when you already knew that, like, this person doesn't meet your intellectual standards, right? And now you are calling this person out of their name, like you're always telling them, like, why are you so stupid, like why can't
Or you're
you
just
think the
bored.
way. Yeah, but it's not okay when we think about the other person if you now start saying, like, oh, you're very stupid, or oh, you don't know a lot about life and that kind of stuff. Like, just know what you like, and if somebody doesn't meet your intellectual standards, then just don't proceed with that relationship.
Yeah.
I think for me, those lines, like if you're condescending, I just don't like that. And I think something that's sticky actually is when it comes to criticism.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a fine line between like constructive criticism and then
Mm-hmm.
just like outright just.
Being like you're just insulting me.
There was a exactly. So there was a book, an audiobook I was listening to, and they said something that stuck with me. For every thing that you say that criticizes somebody, you need to say like 10 good things to them,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so if you're in a relationship where, like, this person is always criticizing you, always saying like all these things that you're like not good at, or always trying to fix things about you, right? Like that is so draining. You know what I mean? So yeah, so I just think that people should be very careful and still respect other people's thoughts. And it's okay. And I think also something I'll say about intelligence as well is intelligence is very different. Like some people are scientific and some people are like more art.
Yeah.
And just because you know a lot more about physics than somebody knows, like that person knows a lot more about like something else that you don't know, right? So it's all about just being respectful to the other person's intellectual boundaries as well.
And you don't have to say it as well. Even if someone does not stimulate you and you do and you think they're very vapid and dumb, like you don't need to say it to them or say it to other people. You can just respectfully decide not to continue or distance yourself, whatever. And at the
Mm-hmm,
end of the
mm-hmm,
day, like as people say, they are friends for different things. There's some friends that I'll go out with. I'm not gonna sit there and ask you, hey, like what are you investing in? Or hey, I need career advice. Or hey, like, I just know
mm-hmm.
that if I'm really like feeling down or if I want to have a good time, this person is the one who I will go and party with. And guess what? There's value in that. There's sometimes where you just don't want to talk about serious things and that person will not take you to task. So like,
Exactly.
different people have different like can like fit in different compartments in your life, and but it's very important, especially when you're choosing like a life partner, to be very cognizant of like your needs in terms of like intellect.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And I'll even do a shameless plug for one of the episodes. You guys should check out I think it's 6 types of attraction. There was an episode I did with Mumbai and Ayanda. It was pretty good. So check those out. And I think there were little episodes as well on just types of attraction. Then you can figure out, hey, like what is something that you value in a relationship? Cool, cool, cool. So now, cherry on top, girl. Let's talk about material things. Let's talk about material boundaries, okay? So we're talking about like, home, car, money, those kind of things. What are just like your general thoughts on this thing?
I think that different people like care about different things. I will say personally, like I think there's certain fundamental things that I just care about. Like for example, I don't want to be the breadwinner of the relationship. of the marriage, da da da. So therefore, when I'm looking for a partner, I'm not going to be looking for someone who is within a certain tax bracket. Not because I'm materialistic, but because I know the struggles that come with it, and I
Mm,
know what's coming ahead based on what I expect and what I want. So that's it. Like in terms of cars, da 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 da. Like, yeah, of course, if he's got a nice whip, like if he got a Maybach, I ain't gonna say no. But like, but I mean, like, I think also at this stage of life, like, I'm not looking for a sugar daddy.
yeah.
Therefore, the certain things I expect people to have, or I'd like, or like I'd want my partner to have, are very different than if I was clearly like just trying to, look for an easy come up.
Question actually, Mandy, that I have for you is if you're in a relationship where like your partner was forever asking you for money, how would you feel about that?
I wouldn't feel any type of way because I would not be in that relationship.
Period.
Like,
Okay.
I'm really sorry, but no. Like I'm at the stage. Like Michelle, I don't have a house, nor do I have a car. I am in no position to be giving someone else's son money. Like I'm trying to save, and I'm trying to, buy a house and just, make my own. Like I'm trying to build a future. So I can't. I'm not in that position to be handing out free money to people. So yes, I'll not be in that relationship.
I love that. I love, Mandy, how you're so confident in the things that you say, and I love that. Power to you. And I actually really respect what you said because I think money in any kind of relationship, it could be familial relationship. Is that a
Yeah.
word? I think it's a word.
Yes, it
Or
is.
it
It is
could be,
actually
or
familiar.
in a
Yeah.
friendship concept, or friendship context, or even in a relationship. I feel like money brings problems. Okay, where money is exchanged hands in terms of like, oh, maybe someone is always like
Yeah.
asking for money or borrowing money and never
Yeah.
returning it, like that causes a lot of friction on a relationship. And of course, when I'm talking about this, I'm not talking in the context of like marriage, because first of all,
Yeah.
I'm not married to know how marriage works, and whatever people decide in their marriage is up to them. But I think one
Mhm.
thing I'll just say, from talking to like friends who've experienced a lot of things, like, look, if you are going to be in a relationship, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with you being with your boyfriend or with your girlfriend and they're asking for money or they're asking to borrow money and you giving them, that's up to you. I think one thing I'll just say though is think, and we never want to think of like, oh, bad situations, like, oh, what happens if the relationship ends? But I would just encourage you, like, just think, if, you know, 2 years from now, you're not together with this person, like, the relationship sadly ends, are you going to have regrets about the things that you're doing? Right? Like, do you want to be in a relationship where like at the end of it, let's say like 2 years later, you look back and you're like, man, I gave this guy or I gave this girl like 10,000 US dollars, right? Like, so yes,
Yeah.
love is a beautiful thing, but I think you also have to think of things and just think of it from a, would I regret this kind of thing? And of course, things are, varying levels, varying degrees to these things. If someone needs to borrow money, I mean, like, okay, let me talk personally for me. If somebody needs to borrow money, like, I'm fine with it. But I think there's also like how much someone is trying to borrow, number one, how frequent someone is trying to borrow. And also if like, I mean, fortunately, I haven't been in a relationship where like a guy was asking me for money or like
Money. Mhm.
borrowing money from me and stuff like that. But I do think that I would definitely have limits to how much I would just lend
Lynn.
somebody or like give someone. Because the truth of the matter is, like you said, Mandy, right? Like, especially if you're at a point in life where you're trying to build things for yourself, like sometimes you don't have. I mean, if you come from money and giving someone 10,000 US dollars doesn't mean anything to you, by all means. But like, if money, like if you're trying to like build something, then hey, I just think be confident in saying, hey, like, when it comes to money, I don't feel comfortable like lending you this much amount of money. And one of my friends actually, we were having a conversation as like just girls and stuff, and we're talking about like, hey, if your boyfriend like, asked to borrow money, like how would you feel? And she was like, look, like even if I'm in a bind, my boyfriend would not be the first person I ask like to borrow money from. Like I would go to my friends or like my family first before I go to like a boyfriend. And so to her, she was like, my boyfriend should not come to ask me for money. You know what I mean? Like he's like, where are your friends? Like, where's your family? But anyway, all of that to say, people have different thoughts about money or
Thoughts,
material
exactly. And I
things.
think it's also good to know the that's another boundary, like knowing whether or not you're borrowing, like are you expected to give it back, or someone giving you the money. Because if you borrow money from a boyfriend or a girlfriend and you've borrowed it, then it needs to be returned. So you
Exactly.
can't now get upset when someone is asking about their money, and you should definitely talk about, hey, when are you going to return it? And maybe that person can be like, I'll return it in 6 months because I'm still looking
Mhm.
for a job. I'll have a job in 6 months. If
Mhm.
you're okay with that, then that's fine. But I think it should be something that should be discussed. I think money is such a big problem is because we find it like to be a taboo topic. We don't talk about it as
Mhm.
much.
Mhm. Mhm.
People just feel really weird about money. But I think the more I would say like the more we discuss and everything, it would actually be like not much of a problem because you'd be more like open with, okay, what are the terms of like, the loan?
Yeah,
When are you
yeah.
gonna give it back?
Mhm.
Can you give me money? Da, da, da. Like I know some South African influencers whose boyfriends have built their whole businesses, and their boyfriends didn't give them a loan. Their boyfriends gave them the money, and they're not
Mhm.
returning
Mhm.
it, and that's fine because their boyfriends are rich. And if your boyfriend has said that, listen, I will lend you 1,000, but you need to give it back in 5 months. Like in 5 months, you should either, like in 4 months, you should either be gathering the money to return it, or you should be having discussions
Yes.
on maybe extending the terms of the contract, or maybe you should be borrowing from friends to return it. Like I think there's a difference between like, borrowing
Gifts and yep,
and gifts.
gifts
Yeah.
and loans. There's a
Yeah.
big difference. And I think, in all of this, right, all we're trying to say about boundaries and all of that is like just as much as you want people to respect your boundaries, also respect other people's boundaries. If you
Be
are with someone,
empowered. Be empowered to
yeah,
say yes, but for 2 weeks, or be empowered to say no,
yes,
or just, yeah, like just
yeah,
be
yeah.
empowered.
Yeah, yeah. And I'll even say, besides even talking about money, like talking about, let's say, like buying properties together. If you're with a partner who wants to like buy a property or buy property with you, but you're not married yet, and to you, you want to be married before you can put money down with someone, like be confident to say, like, hey, like I don't feel comfortable with this, right? Because I think a lot of things happen sometimes to us when we're not vocal about the things that we want or things that we expect. So yeah.
Exactly. Or even how much savings, what's in your bank account. Like I think, unless we're investing together, or unless my debt is your debt, like I don't have any obligation to tell you that. And I should be empowered enough to say, hey, like I don't feel comfortable saying this to you. Like
I love
that's
that. Oh my
it.
gosh, I love that. Yes. Oh, Mandy. Yes. You know what? Say it louder for the people at the back. Actually, before you say it louder, I'm going to say something. Yes, yes, yes. There are certain things that if you do not want to disclose to people, should be 100% okay for you not to disclose to people. And that can even be salary. Like if somebody's like, how much do you make? Like I've had even situations with like friends where like people are talking about money and all of that stuff. And like,
Hmm.
oh, like how much do and I would say it very confidently. I don't want to talk about how much I make, like if you want to see the ballpark, you can go online and you can look it up, right? But like just having boundaries of like, okay, how much do you want people to know? How much do you want people to have from what you have? And then I think also just you, if someone gives you a material boundary, just you respecting that. If you borrow money, give it back to the person on time, right? Or if you're running into issues, like being able to communicate it with the person as well.
And just stay in your line, girl. Because I feel like I'm very prideful. Like I hate owing people, and I hate people saying I owe them. So a lot of the time, like I pay off the debts not because I really want to, but because I have pride, and that's what fuels it. And honestly, that's a good catalyst for me because at least it helps me stay in line with my friends.
Exactly, exactly. Man, but Mandy, this was so good. Thank you so much. It was such a fun like conversation. Just about, oh my gosh, yes, girl. Like I feel you on that. So this was so good. And I'm so glad that we got together and like talked about this. One thing that I've learned from you is I should be even more confident than I am right now to communicate our
Guys, my mom
boundaries.
has always told me from a young age that you're not everyone's cup of tea, and that's fine. Like those guys, those who are who you're for are, you'll find them. Like you're not for everyone, so it's okay. Like,
I love it. I love it. And that applies even to boundaries, Your boundaries are not gonna be for everybody, but if people can't like respect your boundaries, then you know what to do, sis. You know what to
cut
do,
it,
bro.
cut
You know
it,
what to do, sis. You
cut
know what
it,
to do, bro.
cut it.
Hey, I'm not one to tell people what to do, but I'm just gonna say you know what to do. Okay. But anyway, thank you so much, Mandi, for doing this with me. This was so
Thanks for
fun.
having me.
Yay! And to everybody who was listening, thank you so much for listening to this episode. Feel free to hit me up in the DMs on Instagram at Unpack with Michelle with any thoughts or any comments or any stories that you want to share on boundaries. I'm more than happy to like read about that and that kind of stuff. And if you have any questions for Mandi, feel free to send them to me and I can forward them to her as well. That's it from us, guys. Peace.
Peace.
Ndiwe one day.